For this pregnancy, we found out baby's gender very quickly, and we're having a... Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Liz. Today I decided to share my first trimester recap with you guys. With my firstborn, I didn't do these videos. I have a book that I recorded like every little thing in, but with this pregnancy, I want to be a little bit more intentional about those things. So now that I'm in my second trimester, I would love to go ahead and share my first trimester recap and also give you some tips on how to give yourself grace through that first trimester if you are finding yourself through that season in life, because the first trimester is probably the hardest one. For me, is definitely the hardest one. Now, I've never gone through the third trimester, so I have like limited experience because my firstborn was born at 6 months, so I never got into the third trimester. But with both pregnancies, the first trimester for sure was very difficult. So today I'm going to be sharing with you just my experience with baby number 2 and how this pregnancy has been going. I found out that I was pregnant very early on in my pregnancy. So here's a little story. So after I gave birth to my firstborn, she was 11 months when I found out I was pregnant, and my cycle was very normal after I gave birth to her. Like, it went back to like its normal routine, and then I stopped getting my period. I was constantly taking pregnancy tests. They were all negative, and then the month that I found out I was actually pregnant, I was having a lot of symptoms. For example, my breasts were sore. I was having a lot of acid reflux, and I don't know if anybody else gets acid reflux as a pregnancy symptom, because it's not like a very common one, I think, but I've gotten acid reflux for both of my pregnancies. I was super emotional, like just watching, I don't know, like a movie would just cause me to be in tears. I'm an emotional person, but like not to that extreme unless I'm pregnant. I was also craving Pepsi. I'm not a big soda person, especially Pepsi. Like, I've never liked Pepsi like that, but I was craving Pepsi for some reason. So that's when we were like, okay, let's go ahead and take another pregnancy test. Finding out that I'm pregnant and using the last date of my period, the pregnancy app that I used, it was telling me that I was already 15 weeks pregnant. I had mixed feelings about this because one, I was like, wow, we're like really like almost halfway through the pregnancy if this is true, and we really don't have a lot of time to like, you know, do everything normally as you would if you had a whole 9-month pregnancy. I was kind of happy, and I was like, well, if this is true, that means that I kind of passed like the bad symptoms that you go through in the first trimester. So I called my midwife, made an appointment. I did an ultrasound, and I was so early on that my uterus just looked bloated, and she was telling me, you're either about to get your period or you're pregnant, because there's like nothing there right now, so come back in 2 weeks just in case you are pregnant, and then we should be able to see something there. So I came back, and on week 6 we saw like the gestational sac, I think is what it's called, but again, there was like nothing really there. We couldn't hear the heartbeat. It was just too soon. I went back at 8 weeks, and that's when we heard the baby's heartbeat for the first time, and we saw the little peanut in there. I found out I was pregnant super early, and I did the same thing with Leah, with my firstborn, and I honestly I love that because I get to experience like the full pregnancy. So I found out I was pregnant at 4 weeks, which is really soon. I feel like some people find out way later. Month 2 and 3 of pregnancy were probably the hardest ones for me. I had a lot of nausea and vomiting. This was new because with Leah, I had nausea, but it wasn't as much as with this pregnancy, and I didn't throw up. Like, I could count in my hands the amount of times that I threw up when I was pregnant with Leah. With this baby though, I was a hot mess when I came to throwing up. Everything, any type of motion sickness would just boop, throw up. We would come out of the restaurant, and my husband would just be driving back home or driving somewhere, and I would be like, you have to pull over, like I'm about to throw up. And yeah, so like every little thing would cause me to actually throw up. which was very hard because I didn't experience this in my first pregnancy. I had a lot of food aversion with Leah. With this baby, I didn't have much food aversion. I just had a lot of nausea and a lot of throwing up, which it is what it is, part of pregnancy. My husband's colognes, he has like 7 different ones. Each one of them was just like, nope, they smell disgusting. They would cause me to have nausea. Kissing him, I don't know if anybody has gone through that, but I've went through this with both of my pregnancies. Kissing my husband, like I had like an aversion to kissing him, which I feel so bad for the poor guy. Thank God we're past that stage. Just anything really triggered my nausea and triggered me throwing up. I also had like extreme cravings at like the weirdest and the most odd times. Like for sweet though, I didn't crave anything salty, anything savory. It was sweet. Thankfully it was just like for one like month that I was like that, but yeah, it was bad. Like I naturally have a sweet tooth, but with this pregnancy that has been the biggest craving. I went through like different soda cravings. So at first I craved Pepsi a lot, and then I changed over to not Dr. Pepper, to root beer, which I don't ever drink root beer, and then to really craving Coke. Those were just like the 3 major cravings that I had. I was also super like extremely tired, which I was expecting because it happened with Leah as well. But this time around, since I have a little one already, it made it a little bit more difficult because my daughter was transitioning into the toddler age as she was turning 1, and I was just going into my pregnancy, so she had all the energy that I didn't have. So that made it a little bit harder to function because when I was pregnant with her, I didn't have anybody else to kind of look for or take care of. This time around, I had to really just push myself because a little one depended on me regardless of how I felt. So it was a little bit trickier, but we were able to manage, thank the Lord. We also moved homes. So that made it a lot harder as well because moving in itself is exhausting and it's a lot of work. But thankfully our family were both very helpful. My mom, my sister, they literally have come over and organized the house for me, which was super nice, and I will forever cherish that because your girl did not have any type of energy to do absolutely anything. So that was really nice. Overall, that was my first trimester recap, but I wanted to share with you things that you can look forward to in your first trimester. I know that although it is so emotional and so beautiful to find out you're pregnant, once you start going through the actual pregnancy, as your body is adjusting and coping with developing a baby, it is very hard to kind of find joy in the days that are harder. And I just wanted to share with you just some things that you can look forward to during the first trimester. So number 1, hearing your baby's heartbeat. You're going to be able to hear your baby's heartbeat for the very first time. There's nothing that can explain the feeling and the peace of mind that you feel, the joy, the happiness. Like it becomes so real to know, okay, like there's a living creature inside of me right now, and like their heartbeat is literally beating as mine is beating with them, and it's the most beautiful moment ever. It's also such a relief because once you hear the heartbeat, for me it's like okay. I had a miscarriage a while ago before Leah was born, and I never got to hear the heartbeat. So when I was able to hear the heartbeat with Leah and with this baby, it was such a relief to know that my baby is okay. Number 2, you're gonna be able to find out your baby's gender in this trimester. If you don't want to wait and you want to find out as soon as possible, the first trimester is the time that you find out, which is so exciting because if you choose to find out this early, then you get to kind of really dream and kind of pick out specific things that you want, start dreaming about how you want the nursery to be or the clothes that you want to get them. You also get to plan what the names are going to be. For this pregnancy, we found out baby's gender very quickly. We did it through the blood test, and we're having a You're gonna have to wait and find out until our gender reveal video. Even though it has its hard times, it's just such a blissful moment at the same time. Number 3, you get to announce your pregnancy, which is so exciting that you get to share this gift and this surprise with your loved ones, with your friends, and you will be showered with so much love because we all celebrate life. Number 4, I put resting. Because if there's any time in your life that you can be a little bit selfish and really give yourself grace, is through your pregnancy, is through that first trimester where your body is requiring you and demanding you to rest. So take advantage of that and look forward to all of the rest that you will do during this pregnancy. And I'm sure there's many, many more, but the last one that I could think of was you're gonna start to see and show your bump. Maybe nobody else is gonna find out, maybe nobody else will notice, but you're definitely gonna notice. You're gonna start growing out of your jeans, you're gonna start growing out of some clothes, are gonna start feeling uncomfortable, and when you look at yourself in the mirror, you're gonna start seeing that little bump form. You're gonna start feeling your stomach get a little bit harder, and that is so exciting to me because I honestly love being pregnant. When I wasn't pregnant, I missed being pregnant because it's just so beautiful to be able to feel and just to look at yourself, and I just love being pregnant. I really do. The changes that you go through are so beautiful, and you notice each and every one of them first. Very soon you'll start showing your little bump. Your husband is probably going to notice. Other people might not notice right away, but you're definitely gonna start seeing your baby grow and your bump grow. Through this transition period and through this developing and growing period of your life, find room to give yourself grace. Remind yourself that resting is not laziness. Resting is needed. Your body is working so hard to develop this baby and to keep you and this baby alive at the same time. So rest is so needed. Don't ever feel ashamed for taking a nap or for not being able to complete the to-do list that you were able to complete maybe before you were pregnant. Allow yourself to grow into the season and don't fight against it, but work with it. Give yourself some grace. Make adjustments wherever you have to for you to squeeze in the rest, everything that your body is requiring of you in this new season, instead of getting frustrated and fighting against it. Also, don't be afraid to ask for help. If it wasn't for my husband and my mom and my sister helping me, and even my dad helping me like with the house during that first trimester, especially when we were moving and we were adjusting to things, and on the trips that I've gone through, if it wasn't for them, I really wouldn't have been able to like manage as much as I was able to, and the house would probably still be a hot mess right now. If it wasn't for them being there for me, it would have been a lot harder. So ask for help. Be honest with your spouse. Like, hey honey, I really don't feel like I can cook dinner today, or hey honey, I really feel like I'm gonna throw up if I season the meat today, can you do that? Or hey honey, I'm exhausted, I wasn't able to finish the laundry or the dishes. And I'm sure that you're going to get the help needed. I'm so extremely thankful for my husband because he has been so graceful with me. In that first trimester, I was not able to do much around the house, which is hard because I am a stay-at-home mama, so he works full-time, and as much as I hated and sucked for him to come home and kind of get dinner ready and stuff, it was just the season of life that we were in. It was just that short time period, because it's not for too long either. It's that short time period that we were in that I just needed that extra help. I needed someone to run that extra mile for me. Also, accept your limitations. Like I was saying earlier, you're not gonna be able to probably do everything that you were used to with the same strength and energy that you had prior to being pregnant. So make sure to give yourself grace in this area. Your body is going through a lot of changes, and it's okay to acknowledge that you may not have the same energy or motivation as usual. It's so natural to feel tired and unwell, so don't feel guilty for taking things slower or for needing rest. Allow yourself to take breaks. Take those naps when needed and not push through exhaustion. I also want to talk about being kind about your symptoms. They are temporary, and as hard as it can be in the moment, just remind yourself, like, in a few weeks, in a month or two, you're not gonna feel this way. You're gonna be past that stage. You're gonna be enjoying your pregnancy, and it's gonna go by sooner than what you think. Also, embrace small wins. For example, showering was a big one for me. Taking a shower just felt so nice. It felt like even if I did nothing that day other than take a nap and rest and feed my baby and change her diaper, I felt so accomplished by just taking that one shower a day. It was great. If all you could do that day was make a meal for you and your family, take that win. That is a big accomplishment, especially during the first trimester. If you were only able to get a 15-minute walk, a 5-minute walk, or a 10-minute walk, every step you take, it doesn't matter how small it is, it's progress. So embrace those small wins and embrace those little victories. And my last little point here with giving yourself grace through the first trimester is knowing that it's okay not to romanticize your pregnancy. Pregnancy is oftentimes portrayed as a very joyous and carefree time, but it's okay to feel overwhelmed and even uncertain. Giving yourself grace means accepting that you may have mixed emotions during this period. It's normal to not feel the same level of excitement every single day. It's totally normal. It's totally okay. Taking things one day at a time and giving yourself permission to rest and feel whatever you're feeling is so essential during this time period. You're doing great, even if it feels really hard. This period is just temporary, is very short, and it's just a chapter of the beautiful journey that is ahead of you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and you will see me on my next one. Ciao.